Right, so welcome everybody. Sure, today we are sort of changing totally from what we've been covering over the last few weeks. In fact, 3 months, I think, almost now. Hey, so we've been doing a lot of game viewing destinations. We've spent the last month in Namibia, which is an extraordinary destination, specifically from landscape perspective. Very desert landscapes, incredible vastness, and just such an interesting, beautiful country. And today we're going to skip across to Mozambique, really a country known for its incredible islands and as a beach destination. So I think I'm just going to start off with just giving you a brief introduction of Mozambique. So as you can see, it's bordered on the south by South Africa, up in the north by Tanzania, and then along its western boundary by Malawi, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. But what really is the most interesting part of Mozambique is this incredible 2,500 kilometer shoreline, which just has the most remarkable, beautiful white sandy beaches. You know, those videos that you were showing, that Julian was showing you earlier, really those are the colors that you see there. You know, this is not just kind of made up video photography. The colors are absolutely magnificent. You really get these beautiful turquoise, sort of azure blue waters and powdery white sandy beaches there. And then all the way scattered along this shoreline, you have these little groups of islands, little archipelagos. I think what I absolutely love about Mozambique in comparison to a lot of the other islands, Indian Ocean island destinations, a couple of things really. First of all, you know, Mozambique is not about big resort holidays. If that's the kind of thing that you like, then you need to be going to another island. What I love about Mozambique is that it's still maintains when you go onto the shoreline of Mozambique, onto the beaches, you don't see big built up hotel structures. It's all small intimate lodges with enormous character. The incredible culture of Mozambique still very much comes through the warmth of the people, the little local villages, the fishermen. It very much comes through. It is Mozambique was originally is a Portuguese colony. So from a food perspective, got a very Portuguese slant to it. A lot of seafood, a lot of chicken, lots of spices, and then all infused into that is a very sort of traditional Mozambican flavors. So it really makes the food really interesting. And I think just, you know, it's just the fact that it's very untouristy is what I really love about the country of Mozambique, as opposed to other sort of island destinations. You really can get lost in this country. You can really feel like you're on a totally remote sort of deserted island, all on your own, and that's the sort of feeling that comes through. So really, we're going to talk a lot about today what one can see and do in Mozambique, but really a lot of Mozambique is about the incredible diving, the incredible fishing, the snorkeling, the marine reserves, and that's really what we're going to focus on. So entry points into Mozambique. Maputo is the capital city. Whoops, sorry, let me go back. Maputo is the capital city here. For today's presentation, I'm going to focus on 3 areas of Mozambique only. We're going to look at Maputo, and I'm just going to take you through to Mashangulo, the little peninsula here. We're going to look at Vilanculos as an entry point, and then the Bazaruto archipelago over here. And then I'm going to take you up to Pemba, up in the north here, and bordering on Pemba. Pemba's the access point to the Carimbas archipelago right up here. We're going to end off, I'm just going to take you to a little lodge on Lake Malawi. So those will be the areas I'm going to cover for today. And access points, you can get into Pemba either from, you can get a direct flight into Pemba from Tanzania, Dar es Salaam or Nairobi. But otherwise from Johannesburg, there's a flights daily into Maputo. It's a 1-hour flight from Johannesburg. into Vilankulos is a 1.5-hour flight from Johannesburg to Vilankulos, and up to Pemba is a 3-hour flight from Johannesburg up to Pemba. So quite easily accessible and a really great add-on to a lot of the destinations that we've already covered. So a really great bush and beach sort of destination, very easy to add on to your South Africa trip, onto your Botswana or Namibia or Zimbabwe, any of those areas that we've already covered. Right, so I'm going to just start off by taking you to the capital city of Maputo. It's unlikely that most of you would spend a lot of time in Maputo. It really is just an access point. Very cosmopolitan harbour city, very much sort of Portuguese, European flair to it. It's a harbour town, well known for its colonial buildings and incredible seafood. But really what I wanted to show you is that Maputo is really only, in fact, I'm just going to go back to this map just to show you here. Just to orientate you, this area over here in South Africa is actually Kruger National Park. So just north of Swaziland, along this border here is the Kruger National Park, which we covered a couple of weeks back. So you can see here how easy it is to combine this Kruger National Park with Swaziland and a trip to one of the islands here. So, and that's why I just wanted to include Mashangula Beach Lodge, because of its accessibility from South Africa and from Maputo. So Mashangula Beach Lodge is an hour's boat transfer across from Maputo. You can see it's situated on the edge of a beautiful peninsula, and this is where the hotel is, or the little lodge is built. So it's built up above the beach in the forest area here. Go up a couple of steps to get up here. And again, it offers all of the incredible diving, snorkeling, fishing, visits to the local villages, you know, stand-up paddleboarding. So all of those incredible activities that one would get at a lot of the other island holidays and some of the other little islands that I'm going to be showing you shortly. But the great thing here is literally you could drive sort of from 2 to 3 hours, depending on where you are in Kruger National Park, drive across to Maputo, spend a night in Maputo, and then do a boat transfer across to Mashangula Beach Lodge. So really easy to combine with South Africa, really easy to combine with Swaziland. You can get up there without a problem at all. And great to spend maybe 4 nights at the end of a trip here. So just to give you an indication here of the interiors, I would say probably sort of the word sort of Afro chic, kind of sort of rustic kind of feeling. That's the sort of the feeling that one gets in Mozambique. You can see a lot of it is these thatch roofs, obviously trying to keep the heat out. So maybe one of the things that I wanted to just chat to you about actually is when is the best time to visit Mozambique. So Mozambique's rainy season is, as you can see, when you looked at that map, there's a very long stretch of coastline, 2,500 kilometers. So it stretches over an enormously vast territory, right up to almost close to the equator. Summer rainfall time in Mozambique. So the rains start normally around December. January to February, March is probably a time to avoid. It's going to be hurricane season in February and March. In certain areas of Mozambique. Best time to visit Mozambique is definitely the months of any time from, I would say, April up to October time. So during their winter time periods, beautiful warm days, absolutely perfect, no wind. Really, it's the temperatures of the sea are sort of generally between 21 and 31 degrees. So really nice warm waters. The current comes down from the equator down the Mozambique current. So right throughout the year, you have beautiful warm temperatures of water. So the next area that I'm going to take you to is the Bazaruto Archipelago. So your access airport here would be Vilankulos. There are quite a few little lodges all the way up the coastline here. So you don't have to go across to the islands. You can do day trips from Vilankulos if you stay on the mainland at any of these lodges here. You can certainly do day trips across to the islands. You can do island hopping trips, diving trips, snorkeling, scuba diving, etc. Really amazing island hopping, either on their local dhows or on motorized motorboats. So there are 5 little islands here in this Bazaruto archipelago. The 2 that I'm going to focus on today are the 2 larger ones, being Bazaruto and Benguera. So Anantara Bazaruto is part of the Anantara group of hotels, which I'm sure most of you already know. Anantara group, it's quite a well-known group of hotels. Probably one of the larger properties, in fact, on Mozambique. Anantara Bazaruto has got 44 suites. But one thing that I absolutely love about it is that even though it's got, you know, like I said, 44 suites, you can see that each of them are situated along the coastline all the way around here. Each of them quite privately situated with their own little private beach access and their little sort of gazebo in front of each of these, in front of each of the rooms. So really, really beautifully done. There are 4 different dining options at Anantara Bazaruto, meaning that you can really opt to eat in different places, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And of course, one of the things that Mozambique is really well known for is its private dining options. So literally they will set up a table for you on the beach in the evenings for dinner, put candles all around, little lanterns, and you can really literally have, there's so many pictures of people sort of dining with the water almost lapping underneath their feet. It's such a beautifully romantic destination. With Anantara particularly, really great dining options. They actually do a cooking course option as well at Anantara. But of course, the main reason that people come to Mozambique is, I would say, it's a great diving destination, some of the best dive sites worldwide. It's a great diving destination for both your beginners as well as your advanced open water divers. So many of the lodges offer diving courses for beginners, as well as for people to get their open water licenses. It really does offer anything from sort of, 10-meter dives up to 40-meter dives. So really great coral reefs that are, totally unexplored. In some areas, it's absolutely beautiful. And then, of course, fishing. So fishing is also very, very popular in Mozambique. During the months of probably around June to September, you can get sailfish, and from about September to sort of January, it's very popular to go marlin fishing. Also tuna fish, very popular for that as well, and obviously everything in between. But very popular destination for your big game fishing. And then, of course, the other thing that is very well known for is these beautiful little sandbanks, which are sort of scattered. So Mozambique is quite tidal, and as the tide goes out, you find these exposed sandbanks. Something that everybody absolutely loves to do when you're staying is go sort of on an island hopping day trip. And what they always do is they take along a picnic lunch and they find one of these sandbanks and set up the most beautiful little, set up a gazebo for you and set up lunch on one of these sandbanks. And you really feel like you are in the middle of nowhere on your own private island. It's absolutely extraordinary. Of course, other activities, these are the traditional dhows. You can go on a dhow sailing trip. Of course, you have to do a dhow sundowner cruise while you're on one of the islands. It really, really is beautiful. But stand-up paddleboarding, very, very popular. Kayaking, very popular. Horseback riding, dune boarding, all very popular on any of the islands, or on most of the islands. So I'm going to show you a video now on Azura Benguera, one of my most popular, my favorite properties. Benguera. It's on Benguera Island, which is one of those 5 islands in the archipelago. Again, I wanted to put this picture in just to show you, really, just to give you an indication of what, just how beautiful these islands are. And as the tides shift, you just get these beautiful little sandbanks and reefs showing all over the show. Azura is got 20 beautiful little villas situated on either side of the main area here. Each villa has got its own private punch pool and its own access down onto the beach. Each villa has its own Mozambican butler who looks after you right throughout your stay. And the service here is really absolutely exceptional, as well as the food, in fact, really. And the entire experience here is probably one of my favorite lodges on Mozambique. And again here, very similar, you know, just to go over the activities again, it's very much around diving, fishing, beach picnics. The Mozambican islands are really well known for their beach picnics. They take you out on island hopping and set up a picnic on any one of these most incredible, beautiful little islands, and totally on your own, which just makes it so totally unique. As mentioned before, dhow cruises and kayaking. They set up beautiful dinners for you, and the food is really exceptional. Right, I'm going to take you up north now to the Carimbas archipelago. So your access point here would be Pemba. And from here, you would do a helicopter flight into these islands in the Carimbas archipelago. So Kilauea, Ibo, Matimo, Majumbi, Vamizi, all beautiful little remote islands in the archipelago. And for example, a lot of these islands, literally the only thing on the island is pretty much the little lodge. So you can always go and find a little spot where there's nobody else on the island except you. The reason I included Ibo Island Lodge is because, and I think here the unique features about Ibo Island Lodge is the fascinating history. So Julian was showing you earlier, in fact, a video on Ilha de Mozambique, which is also just south of the Carimbas archipelago. And it was quite interesting just to hear, in fact, about the history of that area. So Ibo Island Lodge was originally found, they say, in about 700 AD by Arab traders. And they set up these forts on the island and did a lot of trading from that island. There was slave trading going on. There was trading in gold. There was trading in turtle shell, ivory, and silver. And the island sort of flip-flopped between Portuguese rule and Arabian rule over many years. And because of that, it's got this incredible melting pot of culture on the island, which really brings a whole nother dimension, as opposed to, of course, just the water sports. But here you've got the incredible cultural element of Ibo Island Lodge as well. One of the other things that makes Ibo really interesting, 2 other factors. One is that it's got one of the largest mangrove forests in Southern Africa, making it a really popular birding destination as well. So there's many different species of bird life found in this area, and you can go on beautiful birding walks and nature trails through these mangrove forests. You can go kayaking through the mangrove forests as well. Really brings a whole nother dimension to the island. They also do swimming with dolphins trips. They have you go by boat about sort of an hour and a half off Ibo Island, and they talk to you about the dolphins. And then you can't go up to the dolphins, but a lot of the times the dolphins will come to you and you can dive in and swim with the dolphins. So that's also a really great sort of extra activity that's on offer here. Here again, like I was mentioning to you, just the history of the island is so fascinating, and one can go on walking tours of the island, looking at the old forts. They have the most incredible sort of historians and storytellers of the island who really love to tell stories of pirates and people being captured and prisoners and trading and all of the history of the island. It just adds such a wonderful dimension to it. One of the interesting things that they do on Ibo Island is they have a silverware this is what they really do. They're silverware craft area, and they make the most intricate, beautiful silverware, which you can buy there as well. So really here you can get a full feel of the history of the island. You can do history and cultural tours, visit the local villages. Really fabulous. One of the other things that they do at Evo, which is also really interesting, is they do a sort of 4-day island hopping trip on a dhow. It's a 12-meter dhow, and they go to the various different islands and they set up eco camps on the beach. And they cook dinner for you on the beach, eating obviously local fish and local cuisine. You know, go out for 4 nights, spend 4 nights on different islands, and then come back and spend the last sort of 4 nights at Evo Island Lodge. Really great. Also just something totally different to do. And then of course this is their local little sandbank. So included in their rates is a trip out to their sandbank. Every day they'll take you out depending on the tide dependent and set up a little picnic here for you, or just some drinks and sort of just let you relax on the island for a short while before coming back. So that's a little bit about Evo Island Lodge. Azura Kilalia, I just wanted to mention, is also, I did show you on that video earlier, a little bit of Azura Kilalia. It's the sister island to Benguera. As you can see, quite different to Benguera Island in the sense that this is literally a very small island, and it's literally just the lodge on the island. I think the main unique factor about this island, which I think is really great, is you can see that they have a huge drop-off right off the beach here. So for divers, it really makes it interesting. You don't even have to get out in a boat. You can literally swim out to the drop-off, to the continental shelf drop-off, which makes it really incredible diving spot. Right, then I just want to mention Nuoro Beach Lodge. So Nuoro Beach Lodge is actually on the mainland of Mozambique. It is quite difficult to get to, so that is one of the only problems. One needs to fly into Nampula, and from there it's about a 4-hour drive down, or a flight, a small charter plane into Nuoro Beach Lodge. But Nuoro is particularly, and that's why I wanted to bring it in, is particularly well known for its diving. Again, the reason being is that the shelf drops directly off the coastline here. So it's got 2 kilometers of beautiful private beach, and then as you go around the corner here, it's got these most beautiful little beach coves. So you can again always find a beautiful private little cove to be in. But for divers, many diving options, from beginners diving right up to really advanced diving, and you can literally dive straight off the beach here, which makes it really interesting. It's a great family destination. They've got 14 chalets, as you can see all built along again in the forest, with private access down to the beach, and everything sort of happens around the beach bar here down on the beachfront. But really, I think Nuoro is about the diving. They do night dives here. You've got incredibly just different diving, I think, and they've got these diving scooters as well, for those that want to more advanced, who want to try that out. They do yoga here. They do beach picnics in really remote coves. You can do kayaking through down the rivers, through the mangrove trees, and it's an incredible area for whale watching. Because of that continental shelf that drops so quickly from the beach, you can literally be sitting on the beach and the whales are sort of 100 meters away from you. The whales come into this bay to have their young. So the whale watching really is incredible here. We have mentioned this before, whale watching time, the best viewing time is between June and September. And finally, and this is the last one for today, I thought I would just take you across just to the shores of Lake Malawi. So you may remember in that very original slide, I showed you a map of Malawi, and on the northwestern corner is Malawi, and the lake basically forms the boundary between Mozambique and Malawi. So Nkwichi Lodge, it's very remote. Again, not necessarily the easiest lodge to get to, but if you're wanting to be totally remote somewhere, this is just absolutely beautiful. It's it's very much revolves around what I really like about Mkwichi is that you've got all the lake activities, but this is the southernmost part of the Great Rift Valley. So here you've got your water sport activities like snorkeling, kayaking, fishing, boating type of activities. But you've also got your Great Rift Valley walking activities, etc. One of the things that I absolutely love here is they've got a star bed. I love star beds. I love sleeping out under the stars. I think it just is such a magnificent thing to do, and to see that those African skies is just absolutely beautiful at night. So here, just to show you again, the area around on the mainland around this area is got the most beautiful baobab trees. It's got the most beautiful walks and woodland area with all the little monkeys. And of course, you can go and visit the some of the local villages here, which is also a really great cultural activity to do. So that is me finishing off on Mozambique. It's been a brief visit to Mozambique, but hopefully given you a good idea of what Mozambique's about. From a beach destination, again, absolutely magnificent. One of my favorite places, just because you totally can get away from the crowds. You can really feel like you sort of abandoned on your own island with nobody else around, but you really do get that feeling in Mozambique, and it's still very much got an untouched, untouristy feeling about it. Totally sort of, you know, you don't feel like you're just a tourist. You know, there's no hawkers around on the beach. There's nobody trying to sell you or interrupt you. It's really just beautiful. Right, so are there any questions about Mozambique?
Nikki, we have a question from Jessica. Jessica is actually asking when is the best time to visit Mozambique, actually. And she indicated, is it like June to September?
Yeah. So the best time to visit Mozambique is probably June to September, definitely. I think a lot of it depends on what your interests are in going to Mozambique. So I think if you're wanting to just go to the islands, you know, looking for a beach holiday, June to September is a really great time. It's not too hot. There's no rains over that time. The water temperature is really warm. And, you know, there's no winds or anything. So from a diving perspective, it's a really great time to dive. The visibility is absolutely great. Obviously, if you're wanting to go, if your interests are in particular, for example, fishing, then depending on what you're looking for, fishing can vary. So fly fishing earlier on in the year, March to June. Your whales, obviously June to September. Whale sharks, which is very popular to go and see the whale sharks. That's later on in the year, sort of September to December, January are the whale sharks. And then again, depending on if you're looking for marlin, if you're wanting to go marlin fishing, that's later on in the year, September to December. Sailfish is more at June to September again.
I see. Okay. So do we have any questions from our friends here today? Yeah. Anything that you'd like to find out about Mozambique? And while our friends are thinking about the questions, Nikki, you know, Mozambique is very, very similar to maybe places like Mauritius and Maldives, you know. Yes. So why would somebody would want to go to Mozambique instead of those other places?
So certainly, I think one of the things that I've mentioned is, you know, I think, for example, let's compare it to Mauritius. Mauritius has a lot of big resort type properties along the coastlines of Mauritius with kiddies clubs and, you know, lots of people and resort acts. So you're going to find a lot of evening entertainment every evening. You're going to find kiddies clubs for your kids, that kind of thing. If that's what you're looking for, Mozambique's not the right place for you. Then you want to be at a place like Mauritius.
All right.
If you are somebody who doesn't necessarily enjoy big resorts and is not looking for children's clubs, but looking for a more authentic beach experience, really looking to be remote and sort of on your own and more sort of interacting with culture, then I would say Mozambique is the place to be.
I see. Yeah, I thought
and
that,
obviously, Yeah, and obviously depending also if Mozambique's really great as an add-on to any South African holiday because of its proximity as well. So it's a really great add-on. So we do quite a lot of bush and beach going to Mozambique. So for example, there's a direct flight between Kruger National Park and Vilanculos, which makes for a really interesting combination package to spend maybe 4 nights in Kruger National Park and 4 nights on the beach from Vilanculos. And that's a really great package.
Right, yeah. So it kind of like a very good chill off before you go back from your holiday.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and a lot of people like to do that because, when you're traveling, it can be, when you're moving around a lot and when you're game viewing, getting up early in the mornings looking for game, quite a lot of people like to just go and chill for sort of 3 or 4 days at the end of their holiday before going back. And this is a really great option for that.
Right, I see. Yeah, and I think that's the thing that is very unique about that holiday because going on safari and then you do your beach, for example, and the water sports. I think this is very unique to Africa, so because you're seeing the big games and then you see the big fishes, for example, so something you can only do there. Yeah, okay, I see. Yes, and we have also a question from Kerry asking that are the borders open for Mozambique?
The borders have actually just opened, so I'm thrilled to say that. I heard on Friday that the borders are going to be opening up, so that's really great news.
Right, yeah.
So the borders were open, but they had a 14-day quarantine period, which is not really practical for anybody. But I believe that they've done away with that.
Okay, yeah. I guess things will gradually start to open up. And then today I heard that Singapore Airlines is also flying into Johannesburg now, starting from January. And there'll be like 3 flights a week. But at least it's a good start, and then we are starting to get flights into Africa. Yeah. So hopefully next year will be a good year for all of us where we look forward to travel once again. Yeah.
Let's hope so.
Yeah. So what about the food in Mozambique? Because I know that seafood is definitely the main draw. Okay, and then I also heard that the peri chicken is very good there, right? Yeah,
absolutely.
So, are Nando's in South Africa better or the one in Mozambique is better?
I've never had Nando's in Mozambique. I wouldn't be able to answer that.
Okay.
But yes, it is. I mean, the food is it's very sort of that, Portuguese flavor. So it's very much that sort of peri chicken, curries, lots of fish, fresh fish everywhere. It's really great. A lot of the lodges, for example, on the mainland, you can actually get. There's a little lodge that I use a bit as well on the mainland, which has got sort of self-catering chalets. But then they come. You get a Mozambican butler in your chalet, and you can, your Mozambican butler will go down to the market for you and go and buy the fresh fish in daily, and he will cook. If you want him to, he will cook you a beautiful sort of Mozambican barbecue right on the beach for dinner. So it gives you a lot of options. It's really lovely.
Right. Okay. And Nikki, just now I saw that you have shown us Anatara, Anatara Resort. That's like one of the bigger ones over there. And it looks quite good, but obviously compared to Maldives, Maldives has those very big resorts and then they are very luxurious with the beachside villas, and similar kind of accommodation. I believe in Mozambique, there are also some like that, right? Like, for example, like the and beyond accommodations, in Benguera and
Benguera.
Islands, so what's like the price point roughly, when compared to the price in Mozambique versus in Maldives? Because Maldives can be quite expensive, like 5,000 a night,
Yeah. So certainly it very I would say it's US dollar based. So certainly some of the lodges definitely have got a higher price point, probably quite comparable to Maldives. But there are, there's a wide variety of lodges. So for example, of those lodges that I showed you today, certainly Azura and Anantara, those are on the on the islands, very private, sort of high-end resort, high-end lodges. But for example, Ibo, Nuaro, and Mashangulo are definitely more affordable. And then you get, like I mentioned, you get self-catering lodges, even beautiful villas actually, that you can sort of sleeps up to anything sort of up to 8 or 10 people, even more. And there you can, often those just come, you can get those on a self-catering basis.
Right, I see. So
there's quite a lot of options really, I think,
Yeah, that's fantastic, because then it caters to everyone, depending on.
It does.
Yeah.
It does, yeah.
So do you get flights every day from South Africa?
Into Maputo every day, into Vilanculos most days, from Johannesburg into Vilanculos. And the flight from Kruger into Vilanculos is three times a week. Obviously at the moment, it's difficult to say anything about flights right now, right. But I talk about 2019, let's say, sure. 3 times a week from Kruger into Vilanculos. And obviously we will wait to see what happens next year when flights resume.
Yes, every one of us shall keep our fingers crossed. Yeah, and Stella has this question that Mozambique has such long coast, right? So is there any difference between the north and the south?
I think on the mainland, obviously up in the, you have sort of more of those big mangrove forests up in the north, which you don't have so much in the southern regions. But really the coastline is just so beautiful throughout actually. Right. And quite unspoilt, right, throughout sort of, whether you're in the north or the south, you really do get these most absolutely beautiful beaches. Right. It's obviously slightly warmer up north, with being up closer to the equator. And I would say, I would say probably more that whole sort of mangrove region up in the north is quite unique to that area. Right. Hope that answers. More sort of baobab trees up north, which you don't get further in the south. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Hope that answers your question, Stella. The other thing that I thought that is interesting to point out is that personally, I find Maldives a lot more commercial, because of the big resorts, and things like that. And for the same price that you're paying, or maybe even slightly cheaper, you could book a good resort, like for example, the one by And Beyond. And Beyond actually has a couple of properties over in Mozambique, yeah. And then you book on those. And I find that what that you have actually paid for that price, a certain amount of it still goes towards conservation, which is something that is really, really good, and the amount that you pay goes towards the care of the ocean, and they basically has a lot of conservation project in relation to the ocean, and I think that basically stretches that dollar, other than the you have a fantastic holiday, but then at the same time you're also doing your part for the planet, which is really fantastic. So if you guys are really looking for like a beach holiday, I hope that you also give Mozambique a big consideration, and obviously you are going to see fewer people there, and well, for the people that is missing from your scene, you're going to see more stars for sure.
Yeah. But you're 100% right, Julian, in what you're saying. All of these properties, so And Beyond Benguera is right next door to Azura Benguera. They're literally sister properties there. And they all work very, very closely with the local communities. So, which is really great. All of the hotel staff get trained up. They all come from the local communities, and there's a lot of give back. There's a lot of inclusion and a lot of giving back to the local community. So that is really great.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, to our friends here today, what do you think of Mozambique? Will it be like a destination that you will go sometime in the future? I know that obviously, for now, there are too many places to go to. We have been stuck for a long while. So there might be a long list of places that you want to visit. But Mozambique, one day get into your list of places to go. Would you be looking at that? Maybe we can get some response from our audience here today. Yeah, and we see whether will it be a place that you would like. And do you have something that is similar like that in South Africa, Nikki? You know, with this kind of beaches.
What beaches?
This kind of warm beaches, you know, very, very nice.
Here in South Africa.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Up in the north, Cape Town, Cape Town's waters are quite cold. I was talking to you about that earlier. Quite cold, being right down on the southernmost tip of Africa, really. But if you go up into the KwaZulu-Natal coastline, there you do find much warmer waters and you know, and also beautiful, beautiful white sandy beaches in that coastline, but not the incredible islands that you find in Mozambique.
Right. Yeah. So you still have to go to Mozambique in a way.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's a really great beach island holiday.
Yeah. Thank you, Ian. Yeah, Ian may be keen to go with the family, but then you see there's a lot of other places to go to. Yeah, and I'm sure that he wants to visit a lot of other parts of Africa. Right. Okay. How about
so many places?
Too many nice places to go. Right. Yeah. And Nima says that too. Yeah. You know, the thing here is that there are too many places to go, too little time. If you happen to be around the corner, Mozambique is a good place to consider, you know, going to this wonderful place. And maybe even go there to learn how to dive. You know, like myself, I don't know how to dive. And then I could go there to dive and maybe one day could go and do the sardine run there, which I think Ming will be very interested in, you know. Yeah. So every year, I think that is in May, right? May to July. There will be, I don't know how many, but it's countless, probably millions and billions of tunas, yeah, just around that coast there. And then all the predators will be around. It's like a feeding frenzy, like a moving buffet that all the birds and the sharks and everything else will be there, you know. Yeah, so that is one very interesting migration. So that is like the Great Migration, very similar to the one in East Africa, but this one is the ocean migration. Yeah. Hey, so yeah, and we get some conversation there. All right. Yeah, so do we have more questions for Nikki here today? I think that we all agree that Mozambique is a beautiful place, and it could be a place that we can consider if we go on a beach holiday. But please remember that if you do like a bush holiday with a safari, and then and you just want to find a nearby beach to chill out for a couple of days, Mozambique will be a fantastic destination for that. Okay, right. So we'll just give another 30 seconds before we end this session. If we don't have more questions from anyone of all our friends out there, we'll end this. And I would just like to wish everyone a wonderful week ahead. And please remember that we still have how many sessions more to go, Nikki? Another 2 more, is it?
2. I think another 2, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So next week, we are going over to Malawi, okay? And please remember, okay, the following week, Nikki is going on a very nice hiking holiday, right? Okay, yeah. So enjoy that hike, Nikki. Okay, and then she will be back for the final presentation on the 23rd. Okay, where then we are going to talk about Zambia. Zambia. Okay, yeah. So that will be our very last in this series, and then yeah, we will just take a break from there and probably come back next year. You know, once things starts to open up a lot more, and then we'll be back to discuss more intimately about different parts of Africa again. Okay, right. So yeah, we don't get any more questions, Nikki. So I'd like to thank you once again for this wonderful preparation. And I hope that everyone gets to already know this Mozambique way much better. And hope to see you on one of our trips very soon too. All right. So thank you very much. Have a great week ahead and bye-bye, everyone. Yeah. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.